some of the hottest cars New York has ever seen. From dropping some of the hottest verses rappers ever heard. From the dope spot with the smoke, fleeing the murder scene, you know me well. From nightmares of a lonely cell, my only hell. But since when y'all brothers know me to fail? Heck no, we're all my brothers with the rubber grips for shots. And if you with me, mama, rub on your tits and whatnot. I'm from the school of the hard knocks. You must not let outsiders violate our box in my pot. Let's stick up the world and split it 50-50, Let's take the dough and stay real, take it, And set the Chris and get pissy, flowing beneathly like the memory of my brother Biggie, baby. You know it's hell when I come through. The life and times of Sean Carter, brother, volume 2. Y'all brothers get ready. It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us. Instead of treated, we get tricked. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. It's the hard knock life. It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us. Instead of treated, we get tricked. Instead of kisses, we get kicked. It's the hard knock life.
Hello everybody, thank you so much for being here on this special broadcast of MaximusCrypto. This is the 4-year anniversary, and I'm just going to double check to see that my mic is working, all that good stuff, and it is. So yes, I can't thank you guys enough, right? We'll constantly, or I will at least, and you guys, right, constantly thank you guys for supporting myself, the people I worked with or networked with for a course of basically 4 years. As you guys know or may not know, I originally created this channel on this day, December 13th, which is ironically Elon Musk's birthday, right? So shout out to Elon Musk. But before I knew him, I created this channel, right? So it's December 13th, 2021. I covered things like Clearpool, especially, right? That was the first utility project I ever covered, and I still very bullish on that long-term. Great real-world asset tokenization platform, capital markets, you know, the whole shebang. But anyway, it gave me encouragement because I covered them, and there was just one guy. He doesn't, I don't even think this guy watches the show anymore, but there was this one gentleman. I would say he's roughly in his late 60s, maybe early 70s. And when I put out the video, it took roughly, I think, maybe 3-4 days. And I saw this one person, just one person. Just think about what I'm saying. And he said, you know what? I found a lot of value with the research that you provided. And I said to myself, if I was able to make an impact on one person, then I need to see where this goes. And then it blossomed from there. I got more people watching the videos and listening to what I have to say. And then, of course, April 2022 came around, joined up with another guy, and that went up in smoke, and that's okay. I won't mention who that guy is, but I was with him for roughly 1.5 years and so on. But it was that journey, right? And then it came back to here, MaximusCrypto, September 2023, and re-hooked up with my brother in Christ, who's with the Lord Jesus, Will Fix, and it was just awesome. It was euphoric and so on. But this life is a journey, to say the least. So a lot of you guys are the OGs. You used to watch me doing those daily live streams, right? 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Remember, it was every single day like clockwork. And I know I haven't been with you guys on a live show in probably 2.5, 3 months. But we're back now, baby. And whether the weather is cold or whether the weather is hot, we'll be together whatever the weather, whether we like it or not, right? That was something we used to learn back in the day in acting school. But whatever the case be, I can't thank you guys enough for being here. We're going to talk about XRP, XDC, QNT, JASMY. Some of you guys were like, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that? Hey, there's only so much time in a live stream, right? So I put some things together for you guys. I hope you appreciate the content. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, as I would point out, about why these projects I'm still bullish on and so on, and what really matters that is not being explained to most in the mainstream. Okay, so consider smashing that like. We're going to read the first comment of the day, and again, really appreciate you guys being here because it does mean a lot. We're going to start off with the first comment, and it is from this OG, fellow former co-worker, Mr. Teddy Vinny, you know, Edward Vincent, right? So good to see you, Edward. So glad to have you here, brother. I really appreciate you. He says, woo-hoo. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. On top of that, we're going to read another comment. This is from Lions Den Daniel. Nice, caught alive. Thank you for your support, man. I really appreciate you. And Papa Lou 69, thank you. Welcome, welcome. Here's another OG in the space, Mr. Tim Shea, who sprays from far away. The mayor of crypto, the crypto commissioner, Mr. Tim Shea. I haven't said that in a long time, right, Tim? Good to see you, brother. Really, I do appreciate you being here. And if anything, I will try to fix something real quick. So let me see if I could fix a setting that will allow your guys' messages, right, to pop, right? So let's see what it is. Yep, that's the one that really makes you guys pop. So I'm glad I redid that for you guys. All right. But yeah, always great to see some of you OGs in the space. Corn, welcome. Yes, thank you so much. No XLM. Nothing against XLM. It just, you know, these, again, it's only so much things to talk about. XLM is still number 2 on my list on my portfolio. So I just want to throw that out. I want to welcome Creative Mary Mac. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, I want to at least acknowledge the super chat that drops. So thank you so much for that. Before I get to that, Tim Shea has been a member for 26 months. Thank you so much, Tim. That means a lot. And yes, shout out to you and the Portland Trailblazers, baby. Thank you. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Isaiah. All right. I grew up in Southeast Portland, literally across the street from Mount Scott Park. If you know, you know, right? We're going to go down to this, and this is from Piliak. Thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Yes, man. May the Lord Jesus bless you too. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you. It means a lot. It means a lot. I can't thank you guys enough for the support. So, if I skipped any comments, it wasn't on purpose. Let me just kind of quickly go through some of these and make sure that I recognize some OGs in the space. I do recognize Francisco Dennis Leal. And Francisco, that's spelling the beans. I know you tagged me on one particular thing. You're like, yeah, what about this one that starts with the C? Yep, already covered that long before you tagged me on that. So you figured out the mystery that, you know, as they mentioned in Glorious Bastards, right? That's a bingo, right? There you go. So there you go. You figured it out. Max FOMO, can't believe I could. Oh, okay. Well, awesome. Welcome, welcome. We're just going to welcome a few more of you guys. We're going to get right into it here in a bit. Here's an OG in the space. Rectifier, man. I haven't said that in a long time, right? Yes, rest in peace, Will Fix. KK. Oh, man, I haven't seen you in a long time. The Crypto Professor. Yes, yes. Thanks, man. Yes. Boozy. You know, you should meet Elon Musk because one of his names is Boozy YACC. Yes, I recognize your avatar because you look exactly like Joel Embiid, right? Not Joel Embiid. Joakim Noah, right? Does he not look like Joakim Noah when that's stretched out like that? Anyway, thanks for being here, man. I do appreciate you. Oh, you're all good. No problem. No problem. All right, just seeing if there's anything I missed, and I'm going to go right down. Want to welcome you, Anthony. Always see you in the comments, helping out. I do appreciate that. Thanks for recognizing Jesse. Yes. Hopefully you saw a lot of our work, right? Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Top 4 to give you an answer. So it's a tie between XRP QNT, number 1. Number 2 is Stellar. But sometimes Hedera puts a threat to that, I'll be honest. But I'm still pretty much more bullish on Stellar. Believe it or not, number 3 is JASMY. People think I'm crazy for saying that. If you look more into IoT and where they're going to be positioned, and some other things I heard through the grapevine, which I can't spill the beans about, yeah. And knowing that like 99.87 or 99.7, something like that, at least 99% of those tokens are in circulation. Okay. So that's number 3. And then I would say number 4, it's almost a toss-up between HBAR and XDC, give or take. You know, I kind of switch with that sometimes. So there's your answer. All right. Yeah, yep. I grew up there, right? It's been roughly half my life there, half my life in Phoenix. Rory, always good to see you, man. And let's see here. All right. Look at the top 5 wallets, telling a story now. Okay. And thank you, Luis. Yes, grateful for you too. All right, we're gonna use Tim Shea as a bookmark. All right. We're gonna jump into this. What in the world do I have to share with you guys today? Well, basically speaking, we're gonna get into some key material, and we're gonna start things off with our brother in space, Smoke. I also have my own research as well to complement some of this. So what is it all about? Well, for one, we're gonna pull this up, and basically it's like this. What does our brother Smoke have to share with us? Well, he points out this. He says the current UCC already clears a path for a programmable USCBDC. Oh my goodness. Doom and gloom. You know, Trump said that there would never be a CBDC. Well, I get that, right? But when you look at some of these documents, you got to analyze it, right? You got to figure out, like, you know, could there actually be something like that? Some people say, no, that's all nonsense and so on. We're going to take a look at this. It is important to always see another side of the story. So when we pull this up, Smoke points out, read closely, like it says here, as such, if a United States CBDC were created by a federal law tomorrow, it would instantly be compatible with many parts of the existing commercial code, but only if users choose or are required to deposit CBDCs into a bank or Federal Reserve account, which in our opinion is highly likely to be part of a CBDC design. Like it says, it's documented. So let's pull this up. What in the world is Smoke talking about here? As we zoom in a little bit more, it specifically mentions this on the top right. Again, under the existing UCC, money placed into a bank account legally becomes a, quote, deposit account. The current UCC's provisions related to deposit accounts do nothing to halt the use of a programmable CBDC. As such, if a United States CBDC were created by a federal law tomorrow, it would instantly be compatible with many parts of the existing commercial code, but only if users choose or are required to deposit CBDCs into a bank or Federal Reserve account, which in our opinion, highly likely to be part of a CBDC design. People see that, they think, my goodness, what in the world, right? Well, again, think about all this, because even though this part isn't highlighted, we see here on the bottom right, basically, DTC is owned by the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, the DTCC. A lot of people have been covering that, myself. Everybody's been covering it at this point, right? But that in turn is owned by the participants of its various subsidiaries, including DTC. DTCC's participants are primarily banks, brokers, and other financial institutions. DTC holds 1.4 million securities valued at that whopper, yes, that whopper, $87.1 trillion, making them one of the most important financial institutions in the world today. But let's face it, when we talk about these kinds of things, what's what, you know, the mainstream media will point out? BlackRock, right? 10 trillion plus in assets under management. But then there's this, and that is worth pointing out. Now, as to take you further into this, I want to establish some other key things. And basically, I want to point out, again, why we get into some of this stuff. Well, enter in this. Let's share it on your screen. Enter in the whole idea, and if you wonder if this is new, am I citing things from 10 years ago? No, I'm not. All this is roughly recent, last few days, right? December 9th, 10th, 11th, you know where we're going with this. Back to Smoke again. He says, yes, the United States is focused on a CBDC interoperability through FedNow. My goodness. This scares some people, and there's some people who are bullish on this too. It's kind of a yin-yang double-edged sword. This is documented. Let's pull this up as well. And in doing so, as we zoom in, we see some other key things that are always worth pointing out. Number one, international comparison of CBDC deployments 2025. We already cited things about China, but we're going to focus, obviously, here homebound. Some of you guys are, across the pond and so on. We welcome you. We see here United States of America, study phase, digital dollar, and as you see here, in regard to the deployment time frame, right? Like it says, unspecified political delays, but when it comes to emergency governments, it says none, project blocked in Congress. Well, when I think about things like, for example, let's talk about this for a moment. In today's video, collaboration, highly suggest you take a look into it. In the collaboration with Jesse of Apex Crypto Insights, what was one of the main things we talked about? Well, in the intro, we show Dr. Sarah Payne, right? Whether you like her or not. She does have a robust history of like World War II history, you name it. And one of the main things she started off talking about was the lender of last resort. And immediately after she mentioned that, she mentioned the IMF. Now, you've already know about why these are key and why it's important. We see documents consistently that take in the whole account of XRP as being the lender of last resort. So if you haven't seen that video, jump into the video section, not now, but when you have some spare time, into the recorded video section of MaximusCrypto. Or if you're coming over here from Apex Jesse, right, it's on his platform as well. But it gets more into actual documentation of XRP being the lender of last resort. Now, why am I pointing that out? Well, let's jump back to the document. Document shows emergency governance. So if you are the lender of last resort, you have an emergency plan that's involved here, right? Absolutely. And as you see here, the United States has no emergency governance currently speaking, because again, it's blocked by Congress. But here's what is interesting. On the far right side, you see key features. And it mentions a hybrid approach that's centralized plus decentralized with a focus on interoperability with, of course, FedNow. We already have shared a few key documents over the course of a few years now, especially shout out to you guys who have been, the OGs have been following me, whether it's myself and Rue Black doing the deep dives of FedNow and Temenos. We know about Temenos and obviously things like Stellar. So again, so you guys are like, you're not covering Stellar. Stellar really stands out when it comes to that. I think we even covered Ripple when it comes to that. But Temenos plays a key factor. Shout out to Metallicus with XPR. We know that Metallicus has key integration when it comes to FedNow. It's literally in their showcase. But when we wrap our minds around it all, it's like, this is why I don't want to be a maxi on one thing. Taking it further into this, let's pull this back up because we will establish some other key things here that definitely we don't want to dismiss. Number two, we take you into this. Again, shout out to Smoke. The United States is playing a deliberate double game. Washington's public ambiguity around CBDCs looks confusing, only if you ignore the broader strategy. That's the nail on the head. That's the bullseye. The United States will most likely, certainly, launch a CBDC. Just not yet. Now, you may not agree with this, and that's okay, right? I always welcome a different side of the argument, as long as you don't attack the messenger, attack the argument, right? We got to be polite about that. But for now, it is delaying its own digital dollar, think about that, to preserve the strength of the current system. Checkmark. At the same time, it is using the influence across global financial infrastructure such as SWIFT and Fedwire to slow the progress of competing projects like the digital euro and the digital yuan. This is geopolitical move designed to prevent rival CBDCs from gaining momentum while the American timeline remains paused. In parallel, the United States is promoting private United States dollar-backed stablecoins and encouraging institutions like SWIFT to support them as the preferred digital expression of the dollar. I would agree. I think this is truly what is going on. And there's been numerous documentation to back up his statements. Smoke doesn't just pull things out of thin air, right? He's not smoke and mirrors, no pun intended. But this pressure is one of the reasons the European Union is accelerating work on the digital euro. Now, if you're new to my channel, I want to point this out. There's 3 key cryptocurrency projects that we cover here consistently that are definitely working on the digital euro. Go to my video section. I've done collaborations, even on my own, where number 1, you got Quant, you got Ripple, and especially Hedera are part of working on specifically the digital euro. Okay? Jumping back into this, we see here, specifically speaking, the the EU as in European Union now faces a strategic choice: move forward quickly while the United States remains inactive, or operate within a digital landscape shaped by Washington and Beijing. Now, one thing I want to point out is this. It is a double-edged sword with all this. We understand, like Trump's policy, he has stated publicly we'll never do a CBDC. But when you look more into the documentation, could we get a mild form of a CBDC that's not fully controllable, right, here in the US? And where I'm going with that is the statements by Gilbert Verdian over at the Quant Network that he basically shared that, look, we're not a full-fledged, fully controlled 1984 George Orwell style CBDC type thing that we got going on. Not in those exact words. But it's a balance, right? Recognizing what zones, the Eurozone, obviously what's going on in the UK. Recently, they're doing GBTD, Great Britain tokenized deposits, right? With the Quant Network, Bank of England especially. But when you see this, it is a double-edged sword for the United States of America. And how so? We in the United States, it's not oblivious to anybody else, have roughly $37 to $38 trillion problem in this country. By turning our backs, as you saw in the documentation, to what the Eurozone is going to do, basically says, look, we are surrendering a tremendous amount of liquidity to these particular zones. That's bad. That's bad business, whether you want to look at it this way or not, for the United States. So what would be the good, right? Well, the good is to tap into some of that liquidity. If we're in a tremendous amount of debt, wouldn't we want to be open to some of these things? Yes, but at the same time, the people, the uninformed people, I say that politely, don't realize that there are some benefits when it comes to that. What balance would we have? How much years of deliberation, whether it's Congress, the president, and so on, where we get the right balance to make this all come together? Well, some people will say with pure actual regulations in place, we would see the United States get that clarity and so on, and then maybe they do tap Ripple for XRP with the on-demand liquidity, and we have the Great Reset. All these things are possible, but do not deny every single side of the argument. And I think Smoke realizes that. I realize that. You guys, for the most part, hopefully realize that. Jumping back into this from Smoke, you see here also, again, why it's all documented. So number 1, we'll take you to this. Let's blow this up. And actually, let's shrink it down just a tad bit. We see here, specifically speaking, America ambiguity. Again, I just highlighted this. Between technological delay and geopolitical pressure. You see the references to SWIFT. You see what's highlighted from Smoke. The United States is playing a double game. It is delaying its own CBDC to avoid weakening the dollar, while sabotaging competing projects, digital yuan, digital euro, via pressure on SWIFT and support for private stablecoins. Again, even though it's not highlighted, It's a dilemma for the European Union. Well, some people say it's a dilemma for, of course, America. Again, it's a double-edged sword. Taking into a little bit more about this, let's point out some other key things here. And in the process of doing so, what do we see? Well, basically, let's highlight this. We know about the history of what happened recently with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. But it is good to highlight this yet again. Back in July, she voted no on the Genius Act because it contained a backdoor to a central bank digital currency CBDC. Back then, Johnson promised conservatives that he would put Tom Emmer's bill that closed the loophole to the CBDC in the NDAA to get our vote on Trump's bill, the Genius Act. As usual, he didn't keep his promise. It's not in the NDAA, so the CBDC loophole remains. She supports crypto, but she will never support giving the government the ability to turn off your ability to have full control of your money and to buy and sell. All right. And again, some of these things that was posted here. All right. So with that said, I want to know basically from you guys, like, what do you think in regard to some of this? Do you feel that the United States is going to miss the boat on some of this? Or do you feel as though there's some bigger thing at play here? Before we kick it back into the comments, I want to do one more key thing to wrap up this portion of this topic. We're going to jump back to smoke again. The United States Genius Framework, like it shows here, mentions specifically dollar integration through regulation. The Genius Act positions the United States to consolidate its monetary dominance by embedding United States dollar stablecoins within the regulated system. Some people will point out this is why we don't need a CBDC, because it's right there with United States dollar stablecoins. The extension of the US dollar through regulation will maintain United States global financial supremacy through compliance rather than conquest. And let that sink in. Read that twice. Come back to it. Stamp it. Do whatever you need. Usage of the dollar will be embedded into every layer of digital finance, from settlements to consumer payments, ensuring the United States dollar remains the default asset rails of the global economy. If that doesn't sound bullish, nothing will. And it's documented. Let's pull this up as well. And as we see here on this frame, like it says, the United States Genius Framework, dollar integration through regulation. Again, it has to be through regulation, everybody. The Genius Act positions the United States to consolidate its monetary dominance by embedding U.S. dollar stablecoins with the regulated banking system, and the result is a digitally amplified version of the euro dollar system. It says, hey, Christine Lagarde, I see you. Hold my beer. Look at what we're going to do. And it's one that extends the United States monetary reach through compliance rather than conquest. I know I said that again, but sometimes you have to hear it twice. This other thing, December 9th, this is the final connector. December 9th, Smoke points out the United States is playing a deliberate double game. U.S. will almost certainly launch a CBDC. And again, we just share this, okay? It's all there. It all came full circle. And this is something that I had to bring to you guys because it lets you know what's really going on in the background, because let's face it, sometimes we only get a little crumble of what's really going on, and they say in the mainstream, it's this way or the highway, all right? So thought I'd obviously share that with you. Glad to do so. Let's get into the comments, because I know we have a lot in the comments. I really appreciate you guys basically being here. Let's start off with, I believe, I'm just going to kind of casually go through, make sure I don't miss anything. Okay. So let's see what we have here. Don't want to get into the comments already read. And what do we have here? Do want to read this. Quadrillions coming on chain. Hold tight no matter what the markets try and do. Good comment. All right, so let's go further down. I want to thank Rob Crypto Future for dropping into the comments. Thank you for that, Rob. Let me just see real quick if you. Oh, well, the reason why I texted you, Rob, is gonna see if you wanted to join me on here, and if you do, you're welcome to. If you're not, that's okay. I'm gonna send Rob a quick link. This was a last minute type of thing, everybody. But nonetheless, I'm gonna send Rob a message. He's welcome to join me. If he's busy, he's got other stuff going on, because this was spur of the moment, that's okay too. I did try to reach out to Rue. I did reach out to Jesse. It was just, again, it was kind of a last minute thing. I was kind of debating whether I do this tonight or jump into it tomorrow. But I was like, yeah, technically speaking, tonight is the night for the official 4-year anniversary. So, again, I wanted to point that out. So, basically, yeah, I'm gonna send this to actually a group chat for both Crypto Future and basically Rue. So, 4-year anniversary of Max Crypto live. There we go. So they got the invite on that one. And then, yeah. All right. Glad to see you, Crypto Future. Give Rob a follow, or a Crypto Future 99 if you haven't done so already. And he's apparently ready here. That was quick. So let me welcome him. Good to see you, Rob. How you doing, man? You need a minute? Okay.
What's going on, buddy? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's kind of spur of the moment, but this is the 4-year anniversary of MaximusCrypto. I was just kind of debating, like, am I going to do this tonight? Am I going to do this tomorrow? Tomorrow is obviously a special day. It's a 2-year anniversary of my dad passing away, but I wanted to do it more of tonight. So anyway, and it's Elon Musk's birthday today. So shout out to Elon Musk. So
4 years, brother. That's a lot of time, man. That's a lot of time to be making content, dropping alpha on these degens.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something, brother. It's not about being at 4 years. There's many people, right, even in our audience, that have been here many years before me. I don't see him right now tonight, but I want to give a shout out to Selmo Fudd. He's been in XRP, if I'm not mistaken, like, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3. I would say 3 bull cycles. So I imagine maybe 2018 or below or before that. There's a lot of people that came long before me, but yeah, I mean, it's being open to learning every single day, and that's where it's at, right? So
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. And hey, man, you've been doing it for a long time. I've been, I'm always tuning in. You know it when I'm driving around. We've done so many collabs now that I can't even count them anymore. So it's so many, man. I love working with you. I love chatting with you. You're my boy outside of all of this as well. And again, congratulations on 4 years, brother. Here's to 4 more.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. It's been something. It's been something. So, let's see here. Huh?
I was gonna say, what are we talking about? Go ahead. I know you got some stuff in the chat that you probably want to get to.
So we finished one particular outline, which was about, like, is the United States going to get a CBDC? And we know that Trump said no, but then we look at more material and it's like, there actually could be something there. And then we reference more things about, no, it's going to be more in the form of a stable coin. So again, it's just kind of like a double-edged sword. So I already covered that part, but I have more I'm going to get into in regard to XRP and QNT and some JASMY. And so what I'm going to do is, since you're here, right, I don't want to make it just like, oh, I'm presenting and it's just all about me. What I'll do is I'll kick it into some key areas. I'll pause it, kick it over to you, kind of like what I do with a recorded video, whether it's with Brew or with Jesse and so on. And who knows? Maybe we'll chop some of this up and we'll put it on both channels, right? Let's go. So, it's like it's a big win. So I do apologize, you guys, if it seems like I'm skipping over a lot of comments. There's a lot of comments.
Shout out to Boomer.
Yeah, shout out to Boomer Effing Sooner. Thanks for being here. Boomer Effing Sooner. And all you guys that are in the comments, we'll get to some of your super chats just here in a little bit. But basically, got a pretty good crowd of people, right? On X 165, on YouTube, We have 97, so we got total 265, so not too shabby. Especially since I haven't done a live show in about 2.5 to 3 months, right? But yeah, HTTR, I see you. I see you, brother. Thanks for being here. X marks the spot. Always good to see you. Dave from multiple communities. Ruse, your community, mine, so on. Glad to have you. And of course, there's the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Boomer Afro. Good to see you. All right, HTTR all day with the super chat. $10 super chat. Happy anniversary. Thank you for all the quant coverage over the years, fam. Yeah, JASMY, quant, all the good stuff. Thanks, HTTR. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that, you know, you're always here to do, support and so on. So let me go ahead and highlight that. Glad to do so. And I'm going to obviously give Poliak a heart too. Appreciate you. And I do believe there's some more super chats here. And let's see here. Oh, Henry Brown, man, I haven't seen you in a while, brother. And it's probably because you're more into lives than, recorded videos, and that's okay, right? Thank you so much for the super chat as well. The $5 super chat. Hit the like button, share the video, and support the show. It's been 4 years. It has been 4 years. It's been a long time coming, right? But I can't thank you enough, Henry. Thank you so much, man. We need to reconnect. We do. So always good to see you, man. I really appreciate you. Just gonna go ahead and star that for it's like bookmarked. Henry Brown's been a member for 26 months, rocking with Max in 26 months and longer. Thank you. Just gonna make sure I don't miss anything. Somebody says what's up to Brian. Maybe that's Brian Dowie. I don't know, but if you're here, Brian Dowie, thanks for being here because you are OG in this space. All right, so what we're gonna do now is unhighlight that. Well, Rob, what we're gonna get into is some other key things. It's a little bit of a combination of Smoke's research, my research, et cetera. But basically, yeah, I'm gonna get into some of these other key findings, and I'm gonna pull this up for you, brother. So I'm sure on your channel, you've been talking a lot about ETFs. A lot of people are talking about ETFs, right? But in this case, a little bit more about the XRP ETF. When Will Fix was alive, one thing that we covered, and he got really deep into it, right? He got deep into the whole idea that, in his opinion, the supply of XRP is literally vanishing. And when he got more into the whole idea of the thing, he was mentioning, like look at all these ones out here that are going to be signing up for an ETF, and when we look more into it, like that's a form of a lockup. And it was in his hypothesis that basically he drew the conclusion that, guess what, when everything is said and done, even though people see that big supply of XRP, he was like, wow, in reality it's going to be like anywhere from 3 to 5 billion would be left, period. Right? And that would create like a sense of supply shock. Now, some people debate the whole thing like, but what about ODO and on-demand liquidity? You already have a lot of XRP that institutions technically did gather. And I've shown documentation about that. But before we start, what are your thoughts about the concept of like XRP ETFs are targeting what is referred to as the 42.87% that actually matters? If you haven't had a chance to look into it, we just jump right into the material, but I do want to respect that you're here, and I do value your opinion. A lot of people do.
Well, I haven't looked too much into that specifically yet, but what I would say in terms of the supply of XRP, I think that in terms of Bitcoin, I do believe that in the near future, we're going to get to a point where, and I will segue this to XRP, but when it comes to Bitcoin ETFs and the supply, I do believe that in the near future, we'll be looking at a situation where you're going to have to put in pre-orders for to buy Satoshis of Bitcoin, because there's not going to be any left on exchanges if the acquisition continues to build up. And that's just going to be the norm. It's going to be like pre-orders, and you're in a wait list for whenever somebody kind of sells, right? And I see something very, very similar happening for XRP. We're already seeing, I've been covering this over the last month or two now almost, is we're seeing the outflows of spot Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs and we're seeing mass inflows into the spot XRP and Solana ETFs. Now, that's not new capital coming in. That's capital deciding to leave spot Bitcoin ETFs and roll over into spot XRP ETFs, which is continuing to suck up supply. So I could see XRP being in a very, very similar position in the future where it's going to get harder and harder to come by. You have to remember that Ripple holds, how much does Ripple hold now? 48% of the total, is it 48% of the total supply in escrow? So that's out of circulation. They can only unlock what, 1 billion a month, and then they usually
correct. Yeah, Brad Garlinghouse, right. Brad Garlinghouse went public a few times about that, correct.
So when you really think about the supply of XRP, you have to cut out that 48% of the total supply on top of that. So when you're talking about what is it, 100? Is it 100 or is it 50? It's 50, right?
No, the total supply, yeah. So the total supply for Ripple with XRP is 100 billion. Where you get to 50, I know where you're going with that. That's actually Stellar. Stellar has 50 billion.
Right. So then where I'm kind of going with it is that if there's 100 billion, then you really have to cut that in half, because Ripple can't just unlock half the supply and dump it on the market whenever they want. It's locked up in escrow. I think they can only unlock 1 billion a month.
Well, so why not? Why not? Chris Larson does, right? No, that's horrible, right?
Shots fired.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, he did dump that XRP anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the way I think about it. That's why I say 50 billion max supply, because that other half is locked up in escrow, and no matter how much haters want to say, centralized Ripple can't just unlock it and dump it all, and that's what people fail to understand. So that even makes the potential supply shock for XRP that much greater moving forward.
Great points. I'm glad to get your analysis on that. We'll jump right into a little bit of this here shortly. Want to recognize a few more. Apparently some gifts and a super chat. So you guys rock, man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you guys don't know about Rob Crypto Future, actually before we do this, I don't have to do this, Rob, but I was gonna do it anyway. I had them all lined up. I had you lined up. I had Jesse Apex Crypto Insights. I had Rue. So yeah. And Channing. So I want to highlight Rob's channel real quick because he deserves it. Love this guy, man. He's my brother in Christ as well. And here's his channel. I want to, again, thank you so much for not only supporting me, but support our brothers, our brethren in the space, right? Here's his channel, Crypto Future 99, or just Crypto Future, right? If you just want to at Crypto Future 99, he'll come up. But his channel is technically called just Crypto Future. He has dramatically scaled up. He's killing it, absolutely killing it. And he has live shows. Like, you thought I used to do live shows. This guy, he is your bread and butter when it comes to constant coverage. He doesn't brag, he doesn't mean to boast, he likes that morning coverage on his breakfast toast, right? So blockchain buzz, he just finished it with Crypto Otaku, and who was the other guest you had?
Caesar.
Okay. And as you see here, every single day, just about, even with his Patreon. Then he has recorded videos on top of this, and he's covering anything and everything, but things that obviously that matter, which is awesome. So give him a follow over on his channel. We'll keep that up there for just a brief bit. We're gonna jump down to, let me see here.
Cameras in the house.
Yeah, I saw that. Let me highlight some of this. So I want to thank Gamma Goddess. She says, happy anniversary, Max. Congratulations. And Rob, thanks so much, Gamma. Boom. And if you guys don't know, we'll get maybe into a little bit later. Rob and I, obviously part of the Pico and Gary team. It is it's a fun show, right? It's just like, you guys like Family Guy and all that. It's just a fun show to basically go to, and just whether the market's down or up, it's just a fun time. And I voice a couple characters. I voice Gary. His voice is literally like, dude, come on, guys, like, why is the market up? Why is the market down? And I voice another character who's Hoot the Owl, his voice is just like, you know what you're doing. Well, go ahead and do it. Anyway, it's fun stuff. I used to do improv many years ago. I miss it, and this allows me to jump into it. And we'll actually just pull that up for just a brief bit because I want to do that. I've been meaning to do that a little bit more. And we're going to highlight this, a call to action on this channel. So let's pull that up. And it's a great name. You guys got to love the name if you never heard of it. It's called Not Financially Advised. What a name, right? How many times have you guys heard of the concept of NFA, right? So we're going to highlight the channel real quick, and let's see, where are we at on that? So here it is. We only have 438 subscribers. It's still very new. We're trying to shoot for constant episodes, but check out all the episodes. And then we're also hoping maybe by next week to be consistent where, you know, like immediately after an episode airs, we do a live Q&A, kind of like what you guys see basically with, I would say, what, like, you ever watch Breaking Bad, or, you know, they would have like Talking Bad, right? So after you watch the episode, you can join a community, kind of like what you guys are doing right now, and, you know, comment what you thought of it. You know, hey, this was great. Hey, this was pure crap. Whatever, right? We're open to it all. We can take constructive criticism, but yeah, this is the channel, and then you just type in @Pico and LFG, and you know, there's going to be another familiar person, hopefully by next week, that we'll introduce. I won't spill the beans on that. So you want to stay tuned for that. But Rob, real quick, is there something you want to mention basically in regard to our wonderful animated show?
Yeah, I just think that you know, we're about what, 4 episodes in right now, and I absolutely love watching the episodes. Like you said, I always look forward to the live streams afterwards, where, you know, the team gets together and we answer questions and we chat about our thoughts about the episode. We talk about the future of the project. We talk about plans, all that kind of stuff, so that the community stays kind of up to date on everything that we're doing. So it's a, you know what, it's a fun thing, and we try to make sure that we teach a lesson in every episode for new people in crypto, right? So we drop a bit of education, and that's kind of the purpose behind it, is to help people that are new in crypto learn the do's and don'ts of crypto, how to avoid the mistakes and stuff like that, but in a fun way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and it's been a ton of fun. It's just a break. I mean, come on, can't we all need a break from what's going on? I mean, come on, who doesn't like Family Guy? Who doesn't like The Simpsons and so on? So, this is your platform to go to, and you know, if it's not, it's okay, you know. But check it out if you're the type of person you like a good laugh and so on.
Yeah,
leave
even
that up
if you,
there. Yeah.
even if you don't, even if you're not going to watch the episodes, a simple sub helps the channel grow and helps the algorithm get out to more people. So if you want to just show your support that way it's absolutely free, right? So
Right, exactly. And if you also want to be the guy that's like, ski guys, I'm going home, that's fine too. But as long as you drop it into the chat on the channel. All right. All right. I want to welcome this guy. Let me highlight this guy real quick. So this guy, Rod, has some of the best comments of anybody I've seen in my comments consistently. He watches the material. He soaks it in. This guy, he gets it. He gets it. Thank you so much for being a long-time supporter, Rob. Or not, well, you too, Rob. But Rod, Rod and Rob are here. Thanks, Rod. I appreciate that, brother. I want to highlight this super chat from Chris Culp, 2036. I know it took a little bit of time to highlight that. 7:53 my time. Now it's 8:04. That's not too bad. There's been times I had like maybe an hour and a half delay in reading a super chat. That's bad, right? But thank you. Can't thank you
Chris,
enough.
Chris supports my channel a lot too. So shout out to Chris. Much love, brother.
Yes. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, supporting us both. Want to thank Henry Brown, who's apparently out of town on Greyhound. No, I'm kidding. He's over, you know, shout out to LA area. West Coast hip hop, baby. Give Henry a follow. He's got, Henry, just drop the name of your channel into the comments. He's got great music. Give him a follow as well. But he gifted some Maximus Crypto memberships. He's done it numerous times, so thank you for that one. I think you have another one that we're going to get into. Yep, we see this right here. Get to 1 Maximus Crypto membership. Thank you for that. Alex Frank, the Weirdo King, is here with Max. And yeah, you're obviously referring to you. Good to see you, Rob. Yes, thank you for recognizing that, Boomer. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything specifically. Yes, I did. $2 super chat from Henry. Papacito Brown. If you find, I'll say it in a better way since your name is Papacito Brown. If you find value here, become a member of the channel. You know, don't waste your money on a $2 pin burrito with sour cream when you could drop that $2 into the chat, put it all over your face. All right, that's bad. Anyway, all right, let's go further down. We have Michael Montclair. Oh my gosh, this guy's the Frank Sinatra of crypto. Glad to see you, brother. Look at that guy. Look at that. Look how the OG, man. Nostalgia right there. Yes. Great music from Michael Montclair. Thank you, brother. You say congratulations. Why am I highlighting him? He didn't drop a super chat. Why are you highlighting his comment? This guy's an OG of Maximus Crypto. Why would I not highlight him? All right, so with that said, I think we're towards the bottom of the comments at the moment. I do want to welcome this guy, XRP Codius Saul, and that rail. Yes, so we're going to jump now into the topic. And what is that all about? Well, it's back to what we were just talking about, Rob. So here it is. This is from our brother in space, Smoke. And as I pull it up on the screen, he mentioned specifically this, and please pay attention to this one because you don't want to miss it, because there's a lot of, you know, there's always FUD when it comes to XRP, and that's okay. It is what it is. FUD and everything. Again, XRP ETFs targeting the 42.87% that actually matters. XRP ETFs do not need to take all the XRP supply to create a supply shock. Again, Will and I covered this many times in the past. Now you heard the perspective from Crypto Future. Only 42.87% of all XRP is truly circulating and available for the market to buy, and that is the real pull ETFs pull from 100%. ETFs now hold 0.75% of the total supply. This is still tiny compared to the 42.87% that is actually liquid, but every step upward draws directly from that limited circulating pool. As ETF demands expands, it ships away at the 42.87% slice. Each incremental increase tightens the amount of XRP left on the open market, and that is where the early stages of supply pressure begin to form. If anything, that's the piece of the puzzle. Once ETFs move from 0.75% closer to the 42.87% that is accessible, please understand this, people. Again, we're only at that 0.75%. People have stated, I hear all this news. I hear all this news about, you know, XRP's got the ETFs and so on, but I don't see anything happening. Again, these are the fundamentals that you should pay attention to. Because, again, we get closer to that 42.87%. It's basic math. You don't think something would happen? You better believe that is monumental, and it says that is accessible. The effects become visible because inflows are connected on a much smaller pool, not the full supply. Man, Smoke, God, I can't thank this guy enough. He gets it. They do not need 100%. They only need to keep reducing the 42.87% that is accessible. So before we kick over to Rob, he says, like, is that clear enough? Well, as you see here, it mentions specifically in this, we'll blow up on your screen to make it that much more easier to read. Because of the reason mentioned above, the creators of Ripple system have chosen to distribute directly to the system rather than to produce XRP by mining process. Right, XRP, as we know, is not proof of work, but XRP deals with the business development agreements, initiatives given to liquidity providers, and XRP sales to institutional buyers who are considering investing in XRP. Currently, there are about 100 billion XRPs in the market, of which about 62% are owned by Ripple, and the remaining 38% are held by users on the market. There's the breakdown of that. Citation comes from Avant Obel, and again, Ripple distribution figures are also cited from Ripple.com. taking it to the last part, or second to last part about this, a citation once again, this time from SBI Group. SBI is super well connected. Remember, their head CEO said, watch out after the SEC case gets resolved. We should see XRP blast off. He didn't mean literally overnight, but again, that reference. Distribution of XRP, party held by Ripple. Again, you see the amount burned. You guys love to hear about burns. Amount burned as transaction fees, approximately 10 million XRP. There's the citations about escrow and all that other stuff, but look what it mentions here. Bottom right, okay? Based on information available from XRP Ledger as of July 20th, 2025, nearly 40% of the total supply of XRP is in escrow, and Ripple is not free to sell them off. That in itself is also very, very major. You may feel as though that's all we need to have. That's it. Last key connector, this right here. Total spot ETF net inflow. And actually, I'll shrink this down just a tad because it was a little bit too big. We see here, basically, like what you see. Again, if you understand this stuff, you will understand that, again, total value traded as of December 10th, 24.53 million. Total net assets, 939.46 million as of December 10th. And again, the difference between the daily net inflows versus the total net assets. Kick it over to Rob for some commentary on this. Take it away, brother, and you're going to be full screen. Here we go.
Yeah, what I would say is there's a comment that you have here I can't highlight, but it says we need to drain the OTC markets. What I would say about that is this. Solana has a 7% APY staking on their ETFs now. Wait until there's staking on the XRP spot ETFs, and there will be. You think that we're looking at a potential supply shock. You want to talk about the OTC desk market. That's going to be drained so fast. If you can get 7% APY staking your spot XRP ETFs, that's going to get bought up fast, quick as a wink in a young girl's eye, right? Quick as a hiccup. It's going to be gone. That's what I would say about that.
Thank you for that commentary. And there you guys have it in regard to that subject, specifically about XRP and the ETFs. We'll be chopping this up. It'll be both on MaximusCrypto and Crypto Future. Again, kind of helps our channels grow that much more, because sometimes people tune in late and they miss this type of coverage. But we do thank you guys for tuning in for MaximusCrypto 4-year anniversary. Let's talk about XRP, which we have done. We'll talk a little bit more about it. XDC, QNT, and JASMY. Really appreciate it. We're not done with the show. Got a lot more to get into. But again, I want to thank you guys for being here. Welcome, Libby Brown. Great job, Max. Well, thank you, Libby. Libby, make sure, unless you know who Libby is. Do you know who Libby is?
I don't, but she's looking fantastic. What's up, Libby?
Yes, thank you, Libby. Check out my brother here, Crypto Future 99, or just, you know, actually it's at Crypto Future 99. Take a rate this channel, which is Crypto Future. But thank you, Libby. I do always see you in the comments. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that, you know, I was able to catch the comment from Opulence. All right. Yes, we'll get into that as well. That's one of the main things, so we can get some coverage from Rob on that one as well. And yeah, I recently shared some things about some Solana mixed into the coverage, actually with, I believe, XRP, some bullish news. Obviously, you guys, a lot of you guys follow the IOV Owl, aka basically Ryan Solomon, right, over at Gen Infinity. He has a huge channel, and he did a lot of awesome coverage about, you know, Solana 589, the take with XRP, but he really showed what really counted and why that was big. But yeah, that was in the recorded videos section, so check that out if you choose to do so.
I don't think anyone should sleep on Solana, brother. Absolutely.
No, I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, it really opened my eyes what they're doing, and especially obviously it's a big part of their ecosystem, right? Like, that's a powerhouse, right? Yeah, she could choose to join that if she wants to, but no pressure. All right. Hopefully we're all caught up on everything. I don't see that I missed any super chat or anything. So I think we're caught up. We are now going to jump over to the next part of our coverage because we definitely need to get into this. So basically, here it is. This is another great thing to cover. Again, shout out to Brother in Space Smoke, and I do have some other coverage from myself to get into. So for one, Rob, I want to point out to you, Smoke points out this key thing. He says XRP is being used by banks. He's telling everybody to reference this. Being used by banks, governments, while other digital assets are driven by speculation. He wants to cover some of these things, and I know there's a lot of still FUD because people will reference David Schwartz's video where he says, quote, you know, Ripple's success story won't be banks. For me, it's like, that is actually really bullish. There's one narrative, Rob, where people see that and they're like, well, I'm out of XRP. Forget this. I'm selling this crap, right? But they don't realize when you look more into the documents and so on, it's like, why is David Schwartz stating this? Well, it's because, again, my opinion, many others through the documents, it shows clearly speaking that they will become the new standard in itself, right? Like, I mean, I know a lot of people use this corny analogy, and I'm one of them. It's like going from the days of like, are you really going to use VHS, Blockbuster video, or a DVD and you know, go to the physical place and rent that? No, there was Netflix, but then Netflix evolved from even that, and they're 100% streaming service. I look at like, you know, I don't need to have necessarily all this old stuff that we used to use 20 plus years ago. I'm gonna get on board with the new system. I'm not saying that Ripple's the next Netflix, but it's a good analogy of innovation, right? Go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody looks back at history and they say, you see something, whatever the hell it is nowadays. The smartphone is an example, okay? Now, a lot of people, if you ask them, pretty much everybody would say, man, if I had only known about the smartphone before, you know, just before they were launching it or as they were in production or whatever the case might be, I would have invested in it, right? I would have invested in Apple. I would have invested in Android, whatever the case might be, right? You would, 100% you would, right? Or desktop computers, laptops, whatever technology you take for granted today that you use on a regular basis, the internet, right? In saying that, what Max just said was like pure gold. And I know that people roll their eyes when they hear that kind of thing. They're like, yeah, because they want instant gratification now. But when you think about it, you are being provided right now the rails of the financial future of our entire global financial network, right? You're looking at XRP, right? Cross-border payments, the banking rails. This is not a thesis, guys, that might happen. This is something that's happening. You look at projects very similar, like ZBEC, same thing, streaming payroll. This stuff is going to be used. You're going to be using this stuff, I don't know, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You're not even going to realize you're using the technology because your life just flows that way. Your life, it's the next step in evolution of this financial technology, right? And you're going to be using it and not even realize it's just going to be the norm, right? Just like when you pick up your phone, do you sit there and you think about the fact that you're using your phone, or do you just pick up your phone and say, I'm using my phone, right? So you are right now being provided the opportunity to invest in the beginnings of what's going to be the next step in technological evolution for the financial system. You just got to be patient. That's it.
Yeah, I can agree more, and that's a great way to obviously look at it. As we pull this up, let's get into what is being referenced here. So for one, we're going to share this, and again, back to the subject. So for one, what do we have? We see here, specifically speaking, straight from Smoke, it is only the digital asset with a clear institutional use case designed to solve a multi-trillion-dollar problem. Now, you, of course, you're going to see in the document, and basically speaking, this comes from who? Well, it comes from Cryptocurrency and Security Issues publication that was cited in regard to a framework for investment contract analysis of digital assets, cited originally from Giancarlo and Bale a while back, right? You can look into that, and of course Ripple cited this as well. So I always try to provide a little bit of the citations because I know some people want that. It says here specifically, unlike other digital assets purely driven by irregular speculation, XRP's innovation is being used by financial institutions, governments, and banks as being the most efficient and fastest. Despite what you heard, there's always going to be that one guy that's going to say XRP can only go to, was it like 2000 TPS and so on. You have not researched a thing called the M10. And when these videos get chopped up, I'll try to put an end screen card that'll take you to that deep dive video, because the M10 will leverage the technology of XRP, Stellar, some of these other ones, XDC, etc., etc. And by the way, oh, no big deal, 1 million plus TPS. That's absolutely major, and that's from the Bank of International Settlements. Take into the other key area of this outline, and again, why we point some of this out, it's the other key thing here. Let's pull this up on the other page, and we see here at the bottom, okay, you see here specifically at the bottom what? It says specifically, digital assets for payments. To illustrate it, it is the only digital asset, quote, with a clear institutional use case designed to solve a multi-trillion-dollar problem. So again, back to the video that came out earlier today with myself and Jesse of Apex Crypto, because XRP, the lender of last resort, back to the IMF references, back to the videos that we've done with Smoke, and in the visuals, the pictures, the actual pictures. Who do you see Brad Garlinghouse standing with in those pictures? He's standing right next to, at the time, Christine Lagarde, back when she was with IMF, and other key institutional people from those big banks that we shared before, etc., right? You don't see a lot of these other projects with the IMF. And speaking of IMF, as we get further into it, Quant is even involved with the IMF. Sounds crazy, right? So again, multi-trillion-dollar problem. So when we talk about on-demand liquidity, that addresses a multi-trillion-dollar problem. It says the global payment and liquidity challenges that banks, payment providers, and corporates face. Okay, jumping into this other key area, we're gonna pull this up. This is good. Smoke points out Ripple Payments sees first European bank adoption with Amina Bank. Ripple Payments, again, just like we mentioned, this was December 12th, so literally just yesterday, brand new. And we pull this up, we see here the partnership, excuse me, I'll just keep it there, that's big enough. Partnership supports the bank's crypto native clients who overcome challenges accessing traditional banking infrastructure. This is from Zug, Switzerland. And again, they highlight this thing about Amina Bank. Now, you may be wondering, why even get into that, Max? Again, I'm going to get into why. Because Whale Insider reported yesterday, Amina becomes the first European bank to go live with Ripple Payments. This literally the day after, I believe, the day after Ripple gets an announcement from OCC, everybody, right, about them as in Ripple becoming a national trust bank. That's crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Again, before I kick it over to Rob, because I want to get some of his analysis, just in case you're like, oh, I don't know about Amina Bank. This, ain't nobody got time for that. Well, look at here. AminaGroup.com. Wednesday, September 18, 2024. Amina Bank was selected to be a participant in Project Agora to explore tokenization of cross-border payments. Amina Bank, again, exploring tokenization of those cross-border payments. And it says here, they have a mission to be part of the Bank for International Settlements. Project Agora will involve working with leading central banks and the Institute for International Finance to pioneer cross-border payment solutions for the digital age. So there is your plug to the Bank for International Settlements. That is huge, absolutely huge. And just in case you're like, oh, I don't know, it's not that huge, right? Well, guess what? Enter in the Quant Network. because back in that same year, the July 22nd, 2024 Future of Finance, the digital money event, you see specifically here what? Boil it, mash it, stick it in stew. Quant Network points out that they had a conversation that shifted towards whether the public sector should facilitate a fair environment, which they saw in some cases already, but panelists collectively discussed Project Agora, the unified ledger, which is bringing data to assets in a unified environment. They concluded that this is a strong use case to test whether the industry can bring interoperability to the front of mind across both public and private sectors. Major discovery. And now you see, if anything, the bigger picture. So, Rob, I want to get your take on some of this because clearly we see Ripple is killing it. OCC, National Trust Bank. Now you see this whole thing, obviously, Amina to Project Agora, Quant to Project Agora to the BIS. There's something big going on in the background, and most people aren't covering the whole thing, obviously, with Mina. Who is Amina? Oh, no big deal. Just connections to the BIS. Just connections to Project Agora, and with the biggest participants involved, XRP and QNT. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't sitting here listening to you. I don't know if you read my message or not, but I had to go put my son to bed. So I just got back. But yes, I would agree with you. My thoughts on it would be that most of the projects like this that are the glue that hold a lot of this stuff together, that are the best investments, in my opinion, are ones that are often not hyped up, not talked about by the mainstream YouTube channels and stuff like that because they're not sexy, right? There's no hype around them, so they don't talk about them. But these usually end up being the best long-term investments. Take Chainlink as an example, right? When was the last time you were looking for a Chainlink video on YouTube because you wanted to know what the latest was on Chainlink? It's not attractive. It's not something that you... But it is one of the glues that holds the entire crypto space together at the end of the day. So I think about it very similar to projects like Chainlink, to be honest with you, in that aspect.
Fair enough. QNT fam is screaming because you mentioned Chainlink. Anyway, I don't like
Hey,
tribalism.
you know what?
Right?
You know what? I'm not an or guy. I'm an and guy. As lame as that sounds, man. If I can have Quant over here and Chainlink over here, and they can both make me money, I'm interested.
No, I agree. I 100% agree on that. I was just kind of busting your chops on that. Anyway, so you know, I kind of look at, like, for example, with Quant when they did Cybos this year, it was just like, you know, I don't know if you saw that video, but like me and Rue, we did this outline and it shows the outline chart, right? So like it shows all the booths at Cybos. So like you have Quant Network. I forgot the name of the other company. There was only one booth that separated Quant and Zebek, and then across the the aisle, right, where people walk and so on, there's Fireblocks. And then we discovered, yeah, this makes sense. This is why Fireblocks walked up, talked over, literally talked to Zebek, and then took, was it like 250 million in custody of ZBCN, which is extremely bullish. But then when Rue and I cover the whole thing, it's like, but why did they do this? And then we saw documentation from Quant Network Developer Hub. Oh, this is what it is, because Quant's got this big thing, part of the Solana ecosystem, with all these integrations. And it's just like, and then we saw some more material about Quant integrations with like numerous key partners, obviously with Zebek, and numerous key partners, obviously with like payroll. And it's just like, yeah, Fireblocks, they're not dumb, right? They studied all this stuff and they're like, yeah, it makes sense for us to hold this key player of the Solana ecosystem. So shout out to the guy in the comments that wanted a little bit of Solana. There's your little nugget on that. But anyway, just putting that out there, and glad to do so. So I'm going to stop the screen for a moment. I do want to kick it back to the comments just for a brief bit. Dennis Leal says, Francisco, give him a follow, or at Dennis Leal 7581. He says BlackRock securitized ecosystem with Ripple connections, Hidden Road, Wormhole, Euler, SBI, B2C2, BNY, Fireblocks. Yep, Midas, Open Eden, and now Solana. Great comment. All right, let's welcome Phantom Beat. Says, hey, good to see Brian Dowie, the OG at She's Crypto. That's funny. Good to see you, Brian. OG in the space. Jack Thompson, I know got a couple missed calls from you, man. I'll try to reconnect to you. It's been an extremely busy time. But glad to have you, Jack. I just didn't want to dismiss you. He says, shalom. Yes, shalom, shalom. Back to you, brother. Crypto wealth and perfect health. And Libby Brown says, my understanding about Ripple now becoming is that it is a bank that only deals with other banks, not for we, the people, to have accounts with. Yeah, that was one of the things that myself and Jesse covered in today's outline. A WEF, as in World Economic Forum document. I know it sounds scary, the WEF, not a big fan of one. But it was a smoking gun about why Klaus Schwab says you will own nothing and be happy. Literally in the document, it talks specifically about a crypto ban, and it's scary stuff, right? And it's just like, yeah. And it mentioned this key area about like they're not big fans of ICOs, and it's like, yeah, the SEC. Why do they go after so many companies when it comes to their initial coin offerings and so on? And it's just, it really makes you scratch your head about that. I know it sounds conspiracy, but it's interesting. Great comment. All right, so I want to respect your time. Do you have some more time to stay, especially when it comes to JASMY, or you got to get going?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you want to cover JASMY next, I can stick around for that, and then I got some stuff I gotta take care of. But
yeah, my bad. I didn't see your comment because I was reading pulling up the documents and stuff. So anyway, yeah, we'll just jump into that, and then if I have time for the other stuff, I'll do that on my own. We will now jump into the JASMY side of things. So if that's your thing, guys, consider smashing that like. Rob is a great proponent of JASMY. And before we start, Rob, for my audience that might not be familiar with you, something you would like to share in regard to your trip, obviously, to Japan. You went over and saw Hara. You were at JASMY Labs. It was quite the experience. But, just kind of refresh us on your experience there, and especially what you're going to be doing in regard to the documentary, docu-series, I should say, about JASMY.
yeah, absolutely. So as Max just said, if you don't know, Hara had actually invited me down to JASMY Labs. So I just recently got back. I was there at the end of November for about 8 days. I went down to JASMY Labs, and we ended up creating an entire mini documentary series on JASMY and Junction together. And we cap it off with a sit-down interview between me and Hara-san, the CFO of JASMY, CEO of Junction. And what I would say is the first episode, it's a 3-part mini documentary series. The first episode I'm going to be releasing likely next week. And then 1 episode a week for the following couple of weeks over Christmas, so people can enjoy, if you have some downtime at Christmas time, you're sitting around, everything's closed, why not watch the JASMY documentary series, right? But what I would say is that I can't drop any details on what Hara had said because I don't want to spoil it for you. But what I will say is this: Hara, I've watched every AMA and every Spaces, everything that he's done, public speaking event, for the last 3 or 4 years now. And there's something that I noticed about Hara is that if you let Hara talk, he drops like bombshell news so nonchalantly, because he does, I don't know if he realizes that he just said something that's like a major announcement in itself, but he just nonchalantly just says it in conversation if you let him talk, right? So I went in knowing this, and what I can promise you in this documentary, in this interview I have with Hara, is that he does do that at least 2 or 3 times. He drops at least 2 or 3 mega bombshells about JASMY and Junction. And I'll give you a little nugget. One of them is actually about a resolution to the monitoring zone on Binance.
That sounds bullish enough for me, man. So we do appreciate that reveal, Rob. Thank you for that, brother.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah, means a lot that you obviously went over there. I do want to highlight this. I did give this guy a shout out earlier. And that is the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, the OG of the space, the guy that technically watched me with one other person when we had two people, right?
OG.
Yeah, watching. And it was just like I said to myself, man, I know it's a grind, so it starts off with one, then two, and so on. But this guy has been following me for the longest time, for the beginning, just about. Selmo Flood, thank you so much for being here, man. You must have heard your ears ringing when I gave you a shout out earlier, right? He says, happy 4-year anniversary. You came a long way. It was crypto talk, you know who, from back in the day. We all used to listen to what you had to say and those tips that you gave us. Boy, did they pay. Thanks, man. I had some people recognize, like even with XRP, I mean, I covered it since 32 cents. And when we saw all-time highs of 365, and that is true, guys, it's 365, not the data that you see on CoinMarketCap. That's incorrect data. CoinGecko has the right data. David Schwartz has also cited this too. It's 365 because then Chris Larson dumped after the whole thing of those all-time highs. It is what it is. But yeah, that was an 11x. And, yeah, it's not 100x or 1000x, but you know what? Hey, if I can make double, triple, 10 times, 11 times on anything, who is really, truly complaining about that? So thanks for recognizing that. Means a lot, Selmo. And, man, thank you, brother. You're OG in this space. You're on a lot of platforms, even with like Tim Shea. You're constantly tuning in, supporting a lot of people. You're well informed. And yeah, the thing I mentioned, maybe your ears are ringing. I don't know if you caught it. I was just like, shout out to Selmo Fudd, man. He's been into XRP. What is it, Selmo? 2016, 2018? Like, we're talking like maybe at least 3 bull cycles or something. So you're
Nice.
definitely an OG, yeah. In the XRP army especially. So can't thank you enough for that $50 super chat. Means a lot. Thank you for blessing myself in this channel, brother. Definitely means a lot. And check out my it's always mirrored. Check out my brother here, Rob over at Crypto Future 99. Because Selmo, listen, Selmo, I know that you love live shows, right? You love live shows. Rob is your key guy in regard to live shows, my friend. Like literally every day, he's been killing it. So check him out. It's at Crypto Future 99. I'm gonna type in his channel into the comments. 99. That's the channel on YouTube. Of course, he has an X as well. So thank you for that. Let me see if I'm caught up. I am. And we're going to jump into this now. All right, Rob. Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to a fellow researcher. All right. There's many people I'm networked with. They've been helping me out with like on Discord, just sending me stuff. So I want to give a shout out to Daniel Jesus Oil again. He's a local guy. I haven't met him in person yet, but I plan on doing so. So Daniel, if you happen to be watching, this is shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much for being a great asset in this space for the JASMY Army and Navy and the JASMY forces, right? He sent me this. I want to pull this up. This is good stuff. Because, if you go look up new JASMY news, it's going to be more focused on Junction, and that's okay. But again, I want to pull up something that really gets into the nitty gritty and get Rob's feedback about this. So this particular article, okay, is cited from BIS Infotech, and it points out as of October 22nd, 2025, not that long ago, Panasonic confirms European Union compliance for wireless module standards. Panasonic ensures wireless module meets latest European Union cybersecurity regulations for enhanced IoT device protection. Now, there's been a lot of news lately in regard to what the European Union is doing, especially when it comes to the whole idea of the digital euro, as pointed out by Christine Lagarde. We know about Ripple's involvement with the digital euro, Quant's involvement, and Hedera. Those are the big 3 juggernauts in regard to that. We pull this up further down. I want to point out this key thing here. Basically, how it says, devices must not degrade network performance. Devices must safeguard personal data. Okay, think about that. Think about JASMY's role when it comes to personal data and user privacy, regardless of connectivity status. And of course, the whole thing of fraud. We get that whole thing. But this area right here says that Panasonic Industry Europe has taken proactive approach towards evolving cybersecurity regulations, notifying customers about compliance readiness since July 2025. Well, when you think about JASMY, they are ISO as an international standards organization 27001 compliant, which is literally the main standard when it comes to IoT. So when you realize that, then when you go here, when you see the whole thing of that, many of Panasonic's wireless modules already conform to this particular standard without the need for hardware or software modifications, then it makes you realize, okay, JASMY, obviously Panasonic. And a lot of times people, they kind of just dismiss the thing of Panasonic, like, oh, we got a partnership with Panasonic, but Panasonic is not really doing anything. Are you sure about that? Are you jumping into the deep material about it at all? Well, at the end of the day, what does it mean for you and I and the industry? As the cybersecurity landscape evolves rapidly, Panasonic's confirmation of compliance, think about that, offers a peace of mind to OEMs and device makers, because we know that when it comes to JASMY's Layer 2 with Junction, HAR has been very, very descriptive and bullish about what they're doing with GPUs and their form of, let's face it, it's kind of like a form of mining. So again, device makers who will rely on its modules for various applications. All right. Again, these are critical factors in today's interconnected device ecosystems. We'll get more into all this and get into some of the juicy news about this. Before we do so, I'm going to kick it over to Rob. Rob, what are your thoughts in regard to this so far?
Well, funny story, as you just said, if people are saying big, no, big deal, we got a partnership with Panasonic, but they're not doing anything. When I met up with Hara, he'd actually literally just come out of a meeting with Panasonic when I showed up at the JASMY Labs, and he had told me that he was going to be in more meetings with Panasonic that night until about 10:30 at night. So there are things happening at JASMY Labs between JASMY and Panasonic behind the scenes, guys. If you think nothing else is happening, I mean, they still haven't released the platform connecting all of Panasonic's IoT devices to the personal data locker, right? This stuff is still coming out. It may have taken a while to this point, but there are things happening behind the scenes, and I can tell you because I was physically in the building and saw it happening, right? So, and have it all on tape for the documentary.
Well, how about this? You're a fellow gamer, right? You invited me to game it up with you with some World of Warcraft at some point, and we didn't get a chance to do that because, let's face it, we're kind of busy people. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? Like gamers, screenshots or it didn't happen, or in this case, a documentary or it didn't happen, noob, right? So that's good stuff. Again, I'm so stoked to see that documentary. I'm honored that you even included, maybe a clip or two or whatever it is. So that's good stuff. We're gonna now jump into back to this. Give me just a second.
By the way, guys, Max is actually in the documentary, so you're not going to want to.
Thank you for that, brother. Yeah, I was really honored about that. All right, so yeah, I was just telling Rue because he just gave me a call. If you're wondering why I'm looking down, he's probably like, "Oh, what's up?" I'm like, "I sent you an invite for the 4-year anniversary." Anyway, so he might be showing up here for a bit. So when you're gone, I guess maybe he'll show up. I don't know. Maybe he's still got plans. You never know.
Or maybe I am Rue, and when I leave, I just change my class and come back as Rue.
Right? Like Elon Musk, he always gives Rue crap on the live stream. He's just like he just got an avatar, and he's like sort of Rue Black. He's Rue White. I'm just like, oh my god, man, really, really.
100%.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, we're gonna jump back to this. Let's pull this up, full screen it. All right, so the next area that we're going to jump into, it's just basic Google searches, right? If anything, actually, it's not that part yet. That's not that part, my bad. We're going to jump to this. This is from IoT-now.com. Okay, so again, back to what Rob literally just mentioned. Oh, Panasonic, JASMY, they're not doing nothing. No big deal. Panasonic and JASMY, of course, we know, have unveiled that Web3 platform for IoT and data control. So again, when you go back to what we just shared, this all makes sense, and we know about this, right? This was all published. Them, joining forces, blockchain introduced Web3 platform will facilitate the connection of personal data on the Internet of Things. IoT, the collaboration between Japanese-based blockchain, Panasonic Advanced initiated. All right, but again, keep in mind, it's a platform. And it's very, very direct about that platform. So you really think that this stuff just goes away? Again, I'll state it again. Let's come back in the frame. Just like what Rob Crypto Future mentioned, he went to Japan. He literally saw Hara come out of a meeting with who? Panasonic. Now, timing is everything. Things have to get built. They don't get built maybe according to the way how fast the market moves, but you can respect that, okay, then there's something there. You don't just go behind the scenes and have a meeting about some of this stuff for no reason, right? No, of course not.
Can I just leave a little bit of
I do.
breadcrumbs there for you too? Just sprinkle a little love on what you just said. I want to remind you guys, and this is something that Hara emphasizes to me and has emphasized for a long time, is that they're valuing their KPI goals based on the value of data, which is how they're projecting the value, the potential value of the JASMY token, right? And the more data that gets collected on the PDL system, the more valuable the system becomes as a whole. Having millions of Panasonic IoT devices connected to the Junction system, the PDL system, is going to continually, on a daily basis, flood that system with data, which makes it more and more and more valuable as time goes on, right? It's not out yet, but when it does, guys, you have to understand, again, what they're projecting the potential value of Junction's tokens on is the value of data, not the market cap, right? They're trying to do something completely different than what other crypto projects are trying to do.
Yes, and you're going to love this, Rob, because this actually pounds home what you just said. Check it out, guys. We pull up this actual document. We see here what? Is Rob full of malarkey? Well, look what it says here. Boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew. Again, the newly developed platform based on JASMY's personal data locker product, again, Panasonic and JASMY, aims to provide a secure data storage solution while granting users full control over access to the data. Additionally, it aims to enhance data processing and reaction times. Platform will adopt agile development methods coupled with Web3 technology with a strong emphasis on speed. Well, you're not really going to get the emphasis done on speed with basically just classic Ethereum, right? With the ERC20, et cetera, et cetera. You can be glad that there is Junction with that layer 2. Goes on to mention, the intention is to create an open platform. Again, this platform. So, I mean, for all we know, I can't give an answer on this, neither can Rob. All we know that basically maybe Hara was meeting with, Panasonic about the platform and the expansion. It's hard to say, but I mean, this kind of makes sense when you go back to this. So this platform can be widely utilized for various fields. You love seeing this. Through this approach, the project envisions recruiting a large user base and fostering broad adoption. You sign me up. We want to see that large user base. Again, I understand that people criticize the original white paper and they're like, there's no way we're going to get millions and millions and millions or multi-millions of these users. But when I see this, to me, this is just one example of many. It's not just that JASMY only has a partner with Panasonic. They're so much bigger than just that. And then again, back to Hara. Hara said on X, at least at the time, that the decentralized personal data platform expected to be constructed within the next 3 to 6 months. According to the information available on the JASMY website, the personal data locker manages only hash values on the blockchain, while the actual data files are stored in a decentralized network. Boom, that decentralized network needs to have scale. Boom, go back to the whole thing of what Junction provides. Junction is not a competitor of JASMY. Why would they shoot themselves in the foot? If you're getting that information from some other people out there telling you that, that is simply incorrect, fake news, as the saying goes, because they needed a scaling solution. They have that. And if you're wondering what Junction is built upon, it's built upon the optimism stack. This architecture ensures that the performance of the system is not hindered by limitations such as storage capacity of individual blocks or large file sizes. So that's major. I want you to jump in. I was going to kick it over to you anyhow. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to say that in my conversation with Hara, that again is on the documentary, he directly addresses the relationship between Junction Token, JCT, and JASMY, and you're gonna understand after watching straight from the horse's mouth, not from some other YouTuber who hasn't talked to Hara or anything like that, who's making assumptions. Straight from Hara's mouth himself, you will understand why the JCT token exists. Okay? And I promise you, it is not there to replace JASMY. Hara will explain that himself in the documentary, and you will understand. From that point forward, whenever you see any other YouTuber out there talk about how Junction token is there to replace JASMY or the team is abandoning the JASMY token, you will know straight from Hara's mouth that that other content creator doesn't know his ass from his elbows.
I couldn't agree more. Sometimes people just need to know where the bears shit in the buckwheat, right? Absolutely. Yep. Sorry for all the language, guys, but you know it is. So again, think about what Rob just mentioned there. It's not competing with it. It's if anything, it's part of it's part of the ecosystem. It complements it, right? Again, it's like some people point out, like, well, you got the whole thing of like Chainlink. I mean, they're competing. No, they're a partner. You know, you did need an interoperability solution. And Hara also mentioned the whole thing of Chainlink to help us out with some of that marketing. Now, jumping back. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's driving me crazy that I can't say what I want to say because you're gonna have to get it out of the documentary. But I will say this: if you are a JASMY token holder and you're concerned with the value of your JASMY token because of the existence of Junction, I promise you, and you will understand this, the Junction the existence of the JCT token will increase the potential value of the JASMY token that you're holding right now. And you will understand why when you watch it. It drives me nuts that I can't tell you, but when you do, you're going to figure out it's absurd if you think that like JASMY token will be fine.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just another disclaimer, because there's always that one silly guy that's just gonna say something, and it is what it is, you know. Oh, well, you know, Crypto Future 99, Rob, he's just a paid shill of JASMY. JASMY paid him to go over to Japan. Are you kidding me? He used his own money to go over there, which is amazing. To be that type of person, so convicted about JASMY that he's just like, I gotta go over to Japan and so on and meet up with some of these guys and whatnot. But anyway, we're gonna get back into this. Again, this part is actually just the basic Google searches, and I want to point this out before we wrap up the JASMY segment. So for one, as we see here, just on simple Google search, I asked, is Panasonic partner with the Linux Decentralized Trust? Because we know, technically speaking, that this term gets brought up a lot with myself and Jesse with our material. Jesse of Apex Crypto Insights constantly references how the Hyperledger Foundation was basically renamed to the LF Linux Decentralized Trust. So it says here, yes, this is so bullish. People don't realize, yes, Panasonic is heavily involved with the Linux Foundation. So now you kind of understand, that makes you scratch your head, including its work in automotive software. So again, back to these references, automotive grade Linux, and also is a significant partnership with JASMY, as we know, Web3 IoT, but it's not directly announced a partner of the specific LF Decentralized Trust initiative, though, hear me out, their broader Linux open source involvement likely intersects with decentralized tech concepts. Panasonic Automotive Systems became a gold member, think about this everybody, of the Linux Foundation in April 2025. Remember in April 2025, that was the last update we got in regard to JASMY with JPYD, trying to do stablecoin, those patents. Is that coincidence? I don't know, but it is interesting. It's the same month. And this focuses on software-defined vehicles and has deep roots to automotive-grade Linux AGL. Separately, Panasonic, of course, partnered with Japanese blockchain firm JASMY in 2024. We get the gist. Now, here's what's also important. All right, another simple Google search. I already know this, but I want you guys to see it firsthand because sometimes people are like, I don't want to just hear you say it, Max. I want to see it from a search. And again, I usually pull like very interesting documents, but I just want to get to the point. I said, is the Hyperledger Foundation now called the Linux Decentralized Trust? Well, no. The Hyperledger Foundation isn't renamed, but it has become a core part of the newly launched Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust, LF Decentralized Trust. And that is, in fact, an umbrella organization for open source blockchain decentralized technologies. And like it mentions, integrating Hyperledger's projects alongside others like Trust over IP and Hashgraph. So think about that, Hashgraph, right? We know about Hedera with Hashgraph, just throwing that out there. And that's under one banner for broader collaboration. The Hyperledger brand still exists for specific projects like Fabric. Well, we know about Quant with Hyperledger Fabric. We know about Quant with Hyperledger Besu. People kept wondering why you kept mentioning JASMY and Quant in the same breath. Like, again, go back to the research. But the foundation itself now operates in the larger LF decentralized trust structure, expanding its scope to include identity, privacy, and more. All right, now watch this. This is good. This is the final connector. Is JASMY part of Hyperledger? Well, you've seen Hara mention a lot about JASMY Hyperledger many years ago, but yes, JASMY, just in case you weren't aware of it, is part of the Hyperledger ecosystem in a technical capacity. Specifically, the core JASMY platform is built using Hyperledger Fabric. I did at least 2, maybe 3 deep dives on this back in 2022, 2023. Actually, maybe 2023, I would say. So at least a couple years ago or more. And it's an enterprise-grade blockchain framework managed by the Hyperledger Foundation under the Linux Foundation. So that's so major because, again, this is another example. When I say that QNT is the unofficial Hyperledger token, then when you see this on a basic Google search, you can throw JASMY into that basket too because, just again, JASMY is part of the Hyperledger ecosystem in a technical capacity. Again, people don't realize it. They will label JASMY as just a plain old ERC20 token, but when you get into the fundamentals of it, it is part of the Hyperledger ecosystem in a technical capacity. This is extremely bullish because, again, the whole ties to Linux with obviously Panasonic, and you get the bigger picture. It all comes together. I want to get some of your closing comments in regard to it all. Thank you so much for coming over here, Rob, on MaximusCrypto 4-year anniversary. You are so appreciated, especially by me and many others. You've been the beaten drum when it comes to daily JASMY content, my friends. Give Rob a follow. JASMY's your thing. Obviously, he covered things like XCN. He's one of the OGs. Obviously, with Sebek. He's absolutely crushing it over on his platform. And after his closing comments, we will highlight his channel once again and another project that we're both collaborated with. But again, thank you so much for blessing my channel, being part of MaximusCrypto over many years now, Rob. But, closing comments, my friend.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here as always, man. I wish I could come on more often. I love our collaborations. What I would say is that JASMY reminds me in an aspect, guys, I would implore you, okay? Whenever you hear people out there, and this really goes out to newer people in crypto, whenever you hear people say, well, that project's a scam, that project is a rug, that project is, any of that stuff, I would implore you, please go validate what you're reading, right? Research it, because you have projects like JASMY, you have projects like Sebek. These are gems, in my opinion, guys. These projects have real world use case that are going to be astronomically higher, in my personal opinion, in the future, right? What these projects are building, again, have real world utility. And the deep dives matter. I know that they might not always be sexy and stuff like that, but they matter. Okay. So whenever you hear that, because so many people have missed out on ZBEC, right? When we were like a year and a half ago, when we were first started covering it, and it exploded in popularity. No one was covering it when we started covering it. And JASMY, even though there are a lot of content creators that cover it, there's still so much bad misinformation around the project, guys. And I just want to get that out there, that it's a shout out to people like Max, like Rue, like Jesse, both KIR Finance and what's the other Jesse's channel again? He changed it recently.
Apex Crypto Insights. Yeah.
Yeah, he changed it to. Didn't he change it though?
Yeah, there used to be Apex Crypto Consulting. He changed it to Apex Crypto Insights.
So these channels are important, guys. They definitely are, to do research on these projects, because you miss out on opportunities like JASMY, and it is still a phenomenal opportunity, in my opinion, guys. Yeah, and you're talking to somebody who literally sat in the room with the CFO and CEO of Junction, and I'm telling you, when you're hearing scam, when you're hearing that kind of stuff, please go validate the information that you're hearing, because 9.5 times out of 10, guys, it's misinformation from some other echo chamber, right? So that's all I can really say about it. Don't miss opportunities that are right in front of your face.
No, don't do that at all. That's a recipe for failure. But I mean, I get it. That's part of the journey too. You got to learn to fail a little bit. I want to highlight Rob's channel, and then a key channel that we're collaborated on. Rue is also part of this collaboration. We'll get into that. So here is Rob's channel. Let's pull this up. And basically it is this right here. If you type in on YouTube at CryptoFuture99, it'll take you right to his channel. Okay, and again, he covers ZBEC frequently, the overall market, even with BTC. He has, like it says, will there be an altcoin season? He covers the things that matter the most. Let's just be honest. Constant covers, obviously, JASMY, a few other ones, like he'll cover XRP, some of the things that we're familiar with and whatnot. But he has a live show, because I know a lot of you guys who are tuning in right now, you love a live show. Well, it used to be MaximusCrypto back in the day, right? Every single day. But I haven't been able to do that. Maybe I don't know. I always say maybe I'll do once a week, and I don't end up doing it. Like last one was 2.5 months, 3 months ago. But we'll see what happens with that. But again, if you want that live show every day, literally he is your go-to source about this. So just some comments about your channel, things you might be looking to cover that's new, or your bread and butter, all of the above, brother, in regard to specifically some of this from your channel.
Yeah, as you know, we did make a new show, a weekly show. I'm hoping in the future to make it 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. But it's called Blockchain Buzz, where we bring together 3 other crypto YouTubers. Max is on the show frequently. Rue's on the show frequently. Cesar Gets Crypto, Believes Crypto, Crypto Taco, Crypto Archie, so on and so forth. Lots of crypto YouTubers and stuff. They come on, and we have conversations about what's going on in the market, what we foresee moving forward in crypto, not just specific projects. And we answer questions from the communities and stuff like that. So I believe that it's a good opportunity for people who follow me to get more than just my perspective on the crypto market, right? Because I'm just one person, and I'm not right about everything. So I enjoy hearing other people's perspectives that disagree with me and stuff like that, or have different opinions. So I think that and the show, honestly, we started it 8 weeks ago, and it has really become a staple on the channel. People just absolutely love it, seeing all the different crypto YouTubers come on and talk and stuff like that. So that's really a big deal for us. And moving into Q2 of next year, we're also moving to a studio, and we're upping our game a little bit as well. We're becoming more of a news channel as well. So if you like the news, but we're not going to change what's brought us to the dance, right? We're going to stick to our deep dives and stuff like that as well. In fact, we've been doing more of them dropping gems and stuff like that. So definitely come on over, guys, and shoot us a sub, join the community. We have a fantastic community over there, guys. It's a lot of fun. So that's what I would say. We'd love to have you.
Yes, well, there you have it. Rob, thanks so much for joining me as a special guest, spontaneously on the 4-year anniversary of Maximus Crypto. It does definitely mean a lot, brother, and obviously looking forward to do more collaborations. I almost forgot. I do want to share this. This is the crypto comedy show. Kind of like a Family Guy, Simpsons type of a deal. And here it is. Please help us scale this up. Let's see if anybody actually subscribed to this while we're doing our show. Yeah, we did have a few people, so
Nice.
thank you for that. And it's called Not Financially Advised. We so far have, I believe, 3 episodes, and we're looking
4.
to, or 4, my bad. Yeah, that's right. 4 episodes. This is something I'm part of. I've always, this guy that you see right here, right, Gary, and I also voice Hoot the Owl. I might voice other characters in the future. I don't know. But yeah, we're trying to shoot for weekly episodes, and we'll try to get to more of a schedule on that. And then on top of that, we're also hopefully going to do a live Q&A that after the episodes have aired, where we can engage with the community. Again, kind of like, if you ever follow Breaking Bad, they have Talking Bad. So again, if you guys love live shows and all that engagement and stuff like that, community type thing, and want a good laugh whether the market's up or down, check it out. It's called Not Financially Advised, right? Like LFA. And if you want to just get the cheat code of how you get right to the channel, it's at Pico and LFG. So glad to highlight that. But
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah.
it's like as many members of the team as we can get on for the lives. Sometimes there's like 5 of us, sometimes there's 3 or 4, but we try to get a lot of the team, whether they're the voice actors, the animators, whatever it is, myself, we try to get everybody on, and we like to answer community questions and stuff like that. So definitely, like I said before, even if you're not intending to watch the episodes and stuff like that, if you watch them and you don't like them, even just shooting us a sub helps push the algorithm out so we can grow the channel out, right? So it'd be greatly appreciated. It's free to do. And I just wanted to address a comment here by Dave in the chat. He asked about Axelar. I'm very bullish on that Axelar personally. Very, very bullish, yes.
Well, awesome. I didn't see that question. Oh, there it is. Yep. Yeah, I'm bullish on it too. And it's, a few days ago, it was like right around 10 cents. So it's like, it's not all-time lows, but you're very close to it. So yeah, I would agree. Very, very bullish on that. And we know about the role, especially with, their solution with XRP, EVM sidechains, et cetera, the interoperability, you name it. So it does seem as though it's the chosen one for interoperability for XRP. So
Super fantastic.
yeah, I know that's your line. Well, I'll keep you more, brother. Thank you so much.
Hey, absolutely, man. It's an honor to be here, brother. And we've been buddies for quite a while now, a couple of years now, man. So here's to 4 more years, brother.
4 more years or 40 years, right? So, geez, man, 40 years. I'll be 84
On a beach somewhere.
something like that, yeah.
On Muscle Beach.
Or
Venice Boulevard.
at a really nice lake house with my wood, custom wood built Chris Craft style boat, with a big giant Mercury outboard on the back, or I don't know, pulling a couple skiers from behind, or I don't know, man. We'll see.
We'll be lifting at Venice Beach. Come on, quit fucking around. All right, buddy.
Do it now.
All right, man. Have a good one, brother.
You too. You too. Thanks again. All right, guys. Well, I'm just going to highlight a fefew comments before we kick it to the last part of our coverage, which, as promised, you were wondering probably like, didn't you mention XDC and all that? Yeah. It's actually XDC with a combination with QNT. But I just want to go down and especially welcome Salamander, the XDC Commander. Thank you for being here, man. You're definitely an OG in this space, and I really, really appreciate seeing you here today. I'm going to read this from Peter. $17 JASMY win best case scenario. You know, I know that the KPI targets of $17 in 2026 was referenced in the white paper. So many things point to 2026. We know about JASMY's role specifically in 2026. You never know, but they were basing that on basically, you know, towards traditional finance. But there's a key video. I don't know if I put it in this live, but I'll try to get you that video. Actually, if you want, just go to MaximusCrypto and type in a $sign and then the letter or and 30. It should take you right to that video. There's two key people there that are part of the collaborations, Dip Metaverse and Brian, who's an ambassador of JASMY. And the crazy thing is, it's like $17. It's just like try 30, and that sounds insane, right? But you have to listen to what they have to share with that, along with many deep dives. You're new to this channel. I've covered JASMY deep dives like nobody's business, but I'm not a fortune teller. I can't give you the exact time when. We'll have to see how it all pans out. There's a lot of things when it comes to macroeconomic factors, geopolitical, you name it. But you can respect what they're building in the background. And my goodness, like, you know, who doesn't have so many IoT devices? Like, I got a Samsung smart washer, you name it, right? Oh my goodness, so ecstatically happy to see that you are here. Thank you. Won't say your name publicly, but thank you, BB, for being here. You definitely blessed me with your presence. Can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot that you took some time, obviously, to be here. So I won't say this publicly, but you know, it's like I mentioned before, I'm on day seven, which is quite something, right? Anyway, I think I might be having a little bit of lag, which is kind of weird. Sorry about that, guys. So let me see if I got something. Yeah, I know what it is. The darn NVIDIA thing, trying to have me update my drivers. But yeah, very blessed to have you here. Thank you. Fambarajas. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go down and let's see. Let's go further down. Yep. Many thanks. You're welcome. Oh yeah, well under $1, right? If it was $1, geez, I'd be worth at least $1 million off my JASMY, right? Anyway, it is what it is. All right, the other area we're gonna go with, or the other thing I'm gonna highlight is KK, JASMY best risk to reward in crypto. And Benjamin Awaken 9128. What up, Max? What up? What up? Glad to have you here. All right, remember to smash that like. Yeah, thanks, Fred McIntyre. Appreciate that. All right, I don't think I missed anybody's super chats. We did read them earlier. Thank you so much for everybody that did drop in a super chat earlier. It means a lot. I do want to highlight this real quick. This is my Patreon. Just an announcement that from, I think it was from Black Friday, and it lasts all the way to December 26th. So we have a Christmas sale, and again, on MaximusCrypto, you can get a 60% off annual discount. Okay, I'm gonna drop it into the comments, and if it's your thing, check it out. We've had some early calls, one in particular. All right, let me just jump back to the screen for a second. So I want to point something out. All right, Francisco Dennis Lil figured it out, but you know, hopefully he doesn't spill the beans too much. But it's all about having some early calls on some things. So I did highlight a few key monumental things. I mean, we're talking, like, in my opinion, this is some of my best research I've ever done, period. Okay. What am I talking about? Well, for one, we're going to share this on the screen, and it's some community post I made. So for one, we do look at new trades. Crypto Future helps me out with some of that stuff. But here it is. It says this specifically. What is this all about? Well, it says specifically, this gem I pointed out one day ago. right? This gem is a key player with the United States Regulated Liability Network, and nobody is talking about. Most people aren't talking about. There might be, you know, a random person. It's not Linea and it's not Chainlink, because I knew some people were like, "Oh, it's Chainlink," because Chainlink was Swift. Oh, it's Lineage, you know, because the whole thing is Swift. We know about Linea obviously with consensus. It's a Patreon exclusive. The video is probably about an hour. Man, do I get into all the nitty gritty. But basically, like it says here, you know, this gem is a key player with the United States RON, and again, like it gives you a little nugget, you know, a clue, like Swift. All right, I want to talk about this for just a brief moment. Why did I highlight this? Here's why. Quant Network. How many times do you see the references about the UK RON, Regulated Liability Network? How many times do you see Ripple in regard to the UK RON? Okay. So much there when it comes to the RON, and I do feel like I'm lagging a little bit. That's not good. So anyway, my main point is understanding that if I talk so much about quant, and again these RON connections and Ripple and, you know, all the key participants, there was one that should have been mentioned more than enough times, and it wasn't. And think about that in itself. Why wasn't it? Right? You want to find out about that, and it was at all-time lows. I want to say 9 days ago. 100% of the supply in circulation. Extremely bullish on this one. Extremely bullish on it. So if you want to know about some of these answers, check that out. The other thing I want to jump back to is I want to highlight another key finding. In fact, this other one was roughly a few days ago. Let's highlight this as well. I'm going to pull this up where it says here, XRP XLM HBAR QNT. This research, I just said not will, but it would have if I was shared it on YouTube, X, and Rumble. It would have got me banned, 100%. And like I said, Christmas sale, 60% off, annual memberships, offer ends December 26th. All right. What exactly is that all about? Well, there's a key thing that ties in the BRICS nations. And now I'm not referring to some people that cover the whole thing of Cardano. This is truly something that, to my knowledge, hardly anybody talked about. The guy that presents 2 videos that's involved with this outline. Again, it's a real deep dive. I provide chapters because I know that nobody's going to watch all at once. But basically, the video itself is close to 3 hours. And it mentions specifically what the BRICS nations does. And I'll tell you flat out, 100% confirmed. Not 90%, not 99%, 100% confirmed. That basically speaking, this is the big enchilada. The big thing that everybody was mentioning about, specifically about BRICS and an alternative SWIFT system. We've always been trying to find out, what is that alternative SWIFT system that the BRICS constantly mention? It is revealed in that deep dive. So if that's your thing about extended coverage, that's fine. I always will have a random complaint like, oh, why would I want to get involved in that? You're behind a paywall and something. Guess what? I give a lot of this information for free for many, many years. Hardly anybody watches it. So it is what it is. Again, some people just, they want more access to me. Again, I answer questions. Anybody, for the most part, just about every single question that somebody throws at me, like, hey Max, I have questions about this, I got questions about that, I answer people's questions in a timely manner on that. Also, I would say for the most part, it used to be once a month. Now we're getting towards where it's bi-weekly. On a Thursday, like we're going to have one coming up next Thursday, okay? We have an open mic night. You can join our Patreon community, and we get into some big things in regard to specifically like what's on everybody's mind, and we share that, and it usually goes anywhere from hour to hour and a half. So if that's your thing, you want more access to me, and you want me to look at some things that are obviously on your mind and your concerns, this is the platform to go to. Okay. All right. Can you guys let me know, please? I really need to know, because right now it seems like I got some horrible lag. I don't know why. But let me know, like, if you feel as though like there's a little bit of lag, because if there is, I'm probably gonna just wrap this up and then just do the deep dive about this XRP XDC QNT, right? On a separate video on independently and just air it. Because I mean, let's face it, this live show has gone about a little over 2 hours and 4 minutes anyway. I'm gonna wait for you guys to type it into the comments, but from what I'm seeing on my own, it does seem kind of laggy. So just give me some feedback on that. I'm gonna try to close out some tabs. Maybe that will help. So let me see what's going on. Yeah, I'll just wait for a few seconds while you guys basically do that. All right. So let me close out this about Amina. We covered that earlier at the very, very beginning of our outline, which was great. Talk about Project Agora. Yeah, I am lagging. Yeah, well, that's the thing, guys. You know, a little bit of lag. Yeah, we're gonna say this. Be out and look out for that. Um, tune in for that. We went a little over 2 hours. And knowing that, I did tell my buddy, I said, hey, we were supposed to have plans to kill a bunch of Nazis 21 minutes ago on Unlisted. I said, I'm going to be a little bit delayed. So I want to respect his time because he's a good friend of mine. But going to shoot up some Nazis, on Enlisted. If you guys are into Enlisted, freaking awesome game. First-person shooter. You can join me if you choose to do so. If that's your thing. I welcome it. I'm not some Yahoo that won't, shoot it up with some of you guys, but yeah, some kind of network issue going on, and I have no idea why. I'm glad I got most of the coverage out earlier. Hopefully you appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in to the 4-year anniversary, obviously, of MaximusCrypto. I will highlight just a few more comments because I do appreciate you guys. Yeah, it is a slow leg. To be honest, I've never been to one. No, I'm not gay. I don't know, man. As a Christian, it just doesn't settle well with me. But hey, I don't have anything against people that go to those. There's nothing wrong with some fine-looking boobies and all that stuff, right? Yeah, I know I'm still lagging. Thanks for being here. X marks the spot. I do appreciate you guys. We're gonna close out a video. I would play it out. Actually, I can't. If I play the video, it's gonna lag too. So that kind of sucks. But usually I have some good videos to share, and so on. So I'm gonna say sayonara from the Rice Crop Consortium. Know what you have. Know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. May the Lord Jesus bless you all, and hopefully you guys will stay the course when it comes to all these things, that you won't get flooded out of your bags and things like that. Get into what really, really matters. Actually, I forgot. I was going to present this. Here's the people that I'm collaborated with, right? Let's share this. So number one, I should say number one. It's just part of the mix. Give Rue a follow over at Black Rue Investing. So it's just at Black Rue. Collaborated with him numerous times. He covers XRP, SHX, Metallicus, Zabak. So many things, right? So many things, right? So there's his channel. On top of that, we just shared Crypto Future 99. These are my fellow brethren. We have King Channing. All right. He's literally your go-to source for constant quant coverage all the time. And we see here specifically Apex Crypto Insights, Jesse, your go-to source when it comes to constant QNT and XRP. It's been recently featured over at the Paul Barron Network. You can type in Jesse Apex as your cheat code to go to his channel, or you can type in at Apex Crypto Insights. It takes you to his channel. So again, there you have it. That's the show. And thank you so much to everybody who connected. All right. So with that said, that's an outline. That's a 4-year anniversary. Thanks for tuning in. On to year 5, right? Absolutely. See you guys. Over and out. Bye-bye.